Why do we get so desperate after breakups? A lot of people do, and it's a serious problem that can keep you hung up for a long time. Some of the people who come to me have been hung up on their same ex for years. Other people turn right around and rebound into a relationship, and it goes disastrously wrong, about like you'd expect when you're running from one relationship to another. So what is it that makes us act this way? We know logically that this is not the right move, but we just can't help ourselves. I'm going to give you the answer today, and I'm going to show you what to do about it, not only for yourself, but for the other people in your life. And if things are good now, I want to show you how to build a barrier with the future so that you don't ever fall into this trap of feeling desperate after a breakup. So really quick, before we dive into this, I want you to know that you can get all of my resources that I'm about to share with you on adamlanesmith.com. I've got free attachment styles guide on there. I have all the resources you need to fix your attachment and to work on your relationships. And if you're in a relationship right now and you want to prevent a breakup, I have my attachment bootcamp video course on there, of course, that so many couples are using to boost their relationship and build better emotional intimacy than they've ever enjoyed. So check that out, adamlanesmith.com. So now, what is it about breakups that make us so miserable? I know in my private community, the attachment circle, we've got people all the time, unfortunately, as they fix their attachment, they end up having to break up with a former partner who was not a good partner for them. Or they call out people who are not doing well in their relationships and it ends up splitting off. That happens. Unfortunately, when you fix your attachment, the people you were connected to before, it doesn't go well. Some of them just don't take it well. When you start becoming healthy, you want to push in, you want to lean in, you want commitment, you want honesty, you want real connection and trust. Some people just can't do that, or they're not ready to yet. Other times your principles are misaligned and you realize that they're not going to work out. And you know what? Sometimes you may be the problem. Sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you do things or say things that you shouldn't, and you realize that it was way too far, but the other person isn't willing to give you a shot to fix it. There's a number of reasons that we might break up. But the biggest one I see, and tell me if this has been you, is avoidant people who get into a relationship with you and saturate you with love bombing at the beginning and flood you with oxytocin. And if you have anxious attachment style, and if you haven't got much oxytocin through the rest of your life, and you don't really know how to get it in your relationships, you unfortunately are very susceptible to this love bombing effect. This can happen, and it gets you addicted. Our chemicals, our brains are meant to connect to other human beings. Now, I'm not one of those people that says love is nothing more than a chemical fixation. No, I think that love and chemicals go hand in hand. I don't think you can have one really without having the other. I believe that there's the spiritual, cognitive, human element of the love experience that is also echoed in the chemicals. I believe that those things must go hand in hand. There's no division there for me. So when I see this, I say, okay, here is this person who has never felt love before, or has very little love, or just really connected to this person and feels a total bond to the other human being, and they lose that. That's devastating. It's devastating if you've never had much of it. It's devastating if you don't have much outside of that relationship. We're going to talk about that complicating factor here in a minute, because that's a big part of this answer. If you want to fix this so you aren't desperate after breakup, I'm going to show you how to do that later in this video. But as you deal with the fact that you haven't had much love before, and this relationship gave you something to hold on to, that intimacy, that connection that we get from those close partnerships, it hurts. It hurts on a human spiritual level. At the same time, this is being echoed in our biochemistry, in our brains, and our neurotransmitters. We get a reduction in oxytocin. Cortisol goes up, so it's harder to produce oxytocin, but because we are not connected to that intimate partner who is giving us the oxytocin in the first place, we aren't generating as much oxytocin as we could be. We're not generating as much serotonin as we could be, or dopamine. Everything, in fact, is down. And if you have solved problems with that person, you're now facing a threat from vasopressin bonding that says, I'm losing this person who was vasopressin bonded, who could do things with me. Trauma bonds. This is a big reason trauma bonding holds on. That's a whole new pop psychology term that has really been spiking the last 6 months. This is where trauma bonding comes in, is because your brain is too afraid to lose that person who feels like an immensely powerful ally in your life, even though they treat you like garbage. And many a times when we're stuck on a desperate breakup, it's someone who didn't deserve our love. I'll be frank there. But this is what is happening. So your brain chemistry is all plunging. And if you have not had much oxytocin throughout your life, if you've been oxytocin deficient, if your parents didn't give you much oxytocin, again, that's that neurotransmitter. It's the hormone released when we feel loved and safe. It's in the absence of stress. It's bonding through hand holding, laughing, sharing, snuggling, physical intimacy, joking together, tickling, playing together, everything. All the good stuff that you think of, not just with romantic partners, but with friends, with kids and parents and everything. This is oxytocin bonding. If you haven't got much of that through your life. In fact, if you have anxious attachment style, your brain says, I don't deserve that. In fact, your brain may even say that stuff is scary because it just means I'm about to lose it. It means people are getting too close and they're going to see I don't deserve love. It means that nothing is ever going to go right, so I have to protect myself. I have to get nervous. I'm about to lose everything that matters to me. Oxytocin can be terrifying. A person with avoidant attachment style love bombs you and saturates you with it over and over and over until you're addicted to it. And it's a chemical that we can get addicted to because we're born addicted to it. It's like the heroin we are born addicted to. And we're meant to have it, and we need it. And the less of we have of it, the more we crave it, even if we're terrified of it. So when you get saturated with it in a relationship, even if you don't have attachment issues at the beginning, let's say you get them as you go through a painful relationship, and then you lose out and the relationship explodes. People don't break up because they're happy. People break up because something went catastrophically wrong. As this happens, your brain chemistry loses out. You lose out. Spiritually, cognitively, you lose out. Biochemically, you lose out. And now you are crashing. The people who get most desperate after breakups are the ones who don't know how to get oxytocin outside of that person. So it feels like that human being, your ex, is the one and only drug dealer on earth who has the stuff for the fix that you are looking for. Then you start itching, you start jonesing, you start hurting for that addiction to get fed. And they're the only person on earth. So you start thinking, man, can I just put up with the abuse? Can I just put up with how miserable I am? Like, I could probably just wing it and just be miserable and unhappy forever. I probably could do that, right? This is why so many of us make desperate moves after being broken up. Have you ever met somebody who has maybe made a really bad rebound choice? Really bad rebound choice. They go with someone way younger, way older, way below their level, way toxic, way crazy. Like, they do the weirdest things to get the most oxytocin. You know, interestingly, a lot of men, older men whose wife dies, the guy ends up with like a train wreck of a girlfriend really fast because she makes him feel really good, and he's devastated by his wife's death. So he's craving that chemical, that biochemical feedback, and he gets it from some like really crazy woman who ends up ruining his life for the next couple of years. But it's very common for this to happen. And people say, why did he get remarried so fast? His wife just died. That's not respectful. His brain is freaking out. And he's desperate for that fix for the drug that he was getting with his hopefully good wife all those years. But especially if he didn't know how to get it outside of marriage, he's seeking it in romantic relationships instead of seeking it in the rest of his life. Again, I'm going to come back to that here in a moment. I'm going to teach you how to build this in so you're less desperate in the romantic department. But if this is you, if this has been you, I want you to know that this is a normal experience for many people, especially with anxious attachment style or whose parents didn't give them much oxytocin in childhood. If you don't know how to get it and you aren't raised saying, this is how you get it inside your family, this is how you get oxytocin, it's good for you, it's good for other people, it's normal, share this with people. If you didn't grow up with that kind of messaging or even just that kind of teaching, it doesn't even have to be verbally explicit, but getting shown that and receiving that love, if that wasn't you, you're primed to be really desperate after breakups because you don't know how to get it yourself. You're reliant on drug dealers who are cruising this earth and are going to use that drug most likely against you. Does it sound jaded? Well, a little bit, but it still happens. I see it a lot in my coaching. I see it a lot in my private community, the attachment circle. We work with people in there all the time who come in and say, guys, I need to understand what just happened to me. All right, welcome in. We all welcome them in and say, all right, what was your part of the story? Let's hear your version of things because we've all faced our own, and that's normal, unfortunately, in today's world. So how do you fix this? What do we do about it? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, but it's not going to be easy. Because for most people, if it was easy, you would have done it already. The answer is the biochemistry piece. Let's begin there. If you are low on oxytocin, low on vasopressin, low on serotonin, you're also going to be low on GABA, which is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that suppresses feelings of anxiety and depression. If you're low on all four of those, you have dopamine. Of the big five. There's more, but yes, those are the big five that we're really looking at right now. The big five, you have one, the dopamine button. Sugar, pornography, video games, addictive behaviors that just make you feel good. Yes, even including in some bad relationships. Yes, you could go that route. This is why a lot of people after breakups, they have a bunch of hookups when they've never done that before and they don't even want to, but they're craving oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine at the same time. This is why, very often. So the biochemistry piece, if you are getting consistent oxytocin and serotonin and vasopressin, hopefully, and GABA inside your relationships with friends and family, you are not going to be desperate. Number one, even in a romantic relationship, you can have some leverage to push back if your partner is toxic, if they're unpleasant, or if they're just difficult and things are just tough. You can give and give and give without falling short. You can take care of yourself. You can take care of them. You can build boundaries. You need healthy relationships with friends and family. Now, a lot of people watching this might say, Adam, that sounds really perfect in a great ideal world, but you know what? I don't have family that I can get this with, and friends have been pretty in short supply. I get that. You need to make a couple of friends before you jump into a romantic relationship, because if you are cruising around using strangers that you meet and saying one at a time, I'm going to find the perfect stranger for me who's going to fulfill every need I have as a human, like many people in the dating pool are. I'm not making fun of you. That's what a lot of people are doing. That is setting you up for disaster. That's what you need to fix. That's the problem most people face in their dating relationships and in frankly, their larger life. They're trying to put everything on a stranger they have met and hope that person is perfect for the rest of their life. This is one reason we get so disappointed and depressed and desperate after those breakups, because that's how most people approach their whole life structure. You need friends first. If you can improve some family relationships, do so. I can already hear people in the comment section, don't throw yourself into a nightmare abusive family just because Adam said you need oxytocin. I'm not saying that. By all means, feel free to leave me the comment saying, hey, Adam wants me to be in abusive families. I get those comments all the time. No, that's not the case. Please listen a little deeper. But in this case, build family connections if you can. Build friendship connections, which you can. You just need to learn to do that. I've got other videos here on this channel. I've got Adam Lane Smith, how to find adult friends. And adult as in grown up, not adult as in, you get what I'm saying. Find that video on here. I've got a whole module on this inside my attachment bootcamp course. I built a private community for you to come into if you want to. Pop in for a couple of months. Pop into my private community. It's $50 a month. If you use code YouTube20, you get 20% off your joining membership fee at whatever level you come in on. Jump in for a couple of months and see what it's like and build connections in there with secure people. Do that. By all means, I'm in there. We do group events twice a week. We have the ongoing discussions. You can see what it's like to be around secure people. Or join a local religious organization that you have. You know, if you're of a certain, whatever religion you may be or may not be yet, if you're interested, join some of those groups. And you don't have to go to just the big services. Go to the small groups that they have and shake hands and meet people there. Build something around organizations like volunteering. Go to a volunteer organization. Do something around a hobby. Build those friendships. But you need to have 2 or 3 healthy people in your life who are not romantically or sexually connected to you, so that your romantic and sexual life is not entirely the purpose of your life. If that one relationship is supposed to drive every level of happiness in your life, you are screwed. You are screwed. And that's why you will be very unhappy after a relationship. If you have that deeper support network, number one, you're getting your brain chemicals fed. So when you sit down at the table with the other person, you're not desperate for any kind of connection. They always say, right? Don't go to the grocery store hungry. If you are starving all the time, you are always hungry when you go to the grocery store. You're going to pick up junk food that sounds really good for a quick fix. That's relationships. Don't go to the relationship grocery store hungry, or you will pick up junk food. Just saying. Also, if you're in a relationship now and thinking about getting out of one and you're worried you're going to become desperate, track those relationship pieces, build those connections. We have people come into the attachment circle all the time. Guys, I'm in this horrible relationship. I'm not sure how to get out of it. I'm not sure even what I want to do about it, but I really just need some support. I need to be around some people who get it and who are going to listen to me. Can I talk in here? Yes, please, by all means, share in here. There's probably 10% of the people are in that same boat trying to get out of a bad relationship. Pop in, let's talk. Okay, cool. And they make these connections, and then they work up the courage to make moves in that relationship. Whether they break up or not, that's a whole different story. But sometimes they use that leverage to build a deeper relationship and pull the other person, invite them really into a better relationship. This is possible. All of this is possible. But to make it work, you must build oxytocin bonding with family and friends. That is the absolute key here. And I'm saying do it now. I don't care where you are at. I don't care who you are or what relationship you're in or not in. If you're desperate now, then you should have done it a while ago, but now is a better time than never. Do it now. If you're in a relationship, do it now. If you're thinking about getting in a relationship, do it now. If you're in the happiest relationship of your life, do it now anyway, because it will take the pressure off your partner, number one, and it will diversify your life in a good way so that you're getting more fulfilled, consistent brain chemistry. And all of this will help. The same process with the spiritual, cognitive human being self. of knowing that you are loved, fixing that attachment with people, and recognizing that you have more than one person at a time. Human beings are meant for more than one person at a time. And I don't mean romantically and sexually. It's not me making political statements or whatnot. That is me saying human beings are meant to thrive in a village, in a group, in a tribe, in a pack, in a family, in a whatever you want to call it. We're meant to thrive with a cluster of people that we can trust. More than just one. More than just one human being. One stranger who turned out to be good enough to be with us. That's not how it's supposed to work. If you don't want to be desperate after breakup, if you don't want to be desperate if your partner gets hurt or dies, if you don't want to be desperate in the relationship itself, build good oxytocin bonding with friends and family. Build those connections and your life will do far, far better. So to recap real quick, for those of you who are looking for the short version, build oxytocin bonds with your friends and family. Do this at any level of relationship. This will take the pressure off of your partner and it will take the pressure off of you. If the relationship ends, you will still have this safety net and you won't be desperate. You will also be able to push back against any toxic partners because you won't have everything in one basket where you are craving their approval. And it will help you protect against manipulative, avoidant partners who use oxytocin and love bombing and breadcrumbing and all of that against you to keep you compliant. This will help you break free of all of those things and protect you from any desperate moves you may make. And at the same time, you gain really incredible friendships and maybe family relationships. Do this, build these relationships in, and you will be strong for life. So where do you go from here? Well, I've got a couple videos here on this channel you need to check out. Again, number one is how to make adult friends. Check that out here on my channel. I've also got one, if you have a hard time opening up and building connections with people, and you're only able to do that with your partner because it feels weird to ask other people for your needs or to get too close to them, check out my previous video, how to improve your communication in 9 minutes. That video is mind-blowing to most people, and it really shifts the tide so that you can actually ask for your needs to get met. In fact, you kind of have to after you watch that video. How to improve your communication in 9 minutes. Check that out here on this channel. Very important for you to see that video next. As always, you can find me on adamlanesmith.com. I'm also on TikTok where I do 6 live streams a week at @attachmentbro. Join me over there. I'd love to see you. And make sure you drop me a comment down here below with the last time you were in or out of a desperate relationship. Or tell me about a time you saw somebody else do something really desperate. What's the one thing you would like to avoid, or the one thing you think other people should avoid by doing this oxytocin bonding? Drop that comment down below. I would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe.